That's funny.
Hello, and welcome to Star Time. How are you?
I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good, I think.
That's good.
I gotta get rid of this, I gotta free my beautiful hair.
Yeah.
Do you wanna do some special effects real quick?
Sure.
Oh, yeah. So today, everyone, we have a very fun topic of conversation. We hope you enjoy our wonderful UFO-themed extravaganza. This will be quite fun. Now, we're always having fun here at Star Time, but unlike many other astronomy or pop sci things, we encourage you to ask all kinds of random fun questions. Yes. And also, you can be patient with us as we adjust the chroma key in our thing because we are not professional and it changes slightly every 3 seconds.
We got a bunch of microphones that look like robot penises and spent a lot of money on them. It's crazy.
Look like. So, before we have on our special guest, Miranda, aka Future Ghost, that's with 2 underscores, we're going to do a little bit of space news so we can catch up on all the important things that are happening in the universe this week. So, let's begin, shall we? Okay. As you can see, there's an astronaut sitting on a toilet on the moon. Wouldn't we all love to go to the toilet on the moon? Jasmine, where's the best place you've gone to the toilet?
In Big Sur, in that outdoor toilet situation where we could see that majestic sunset and sunrise, and it was the best shit I've ever had in my life.
I gotta agree. I can't recommend enough going to a cabin in Big Sur and sitting on a toilet overlooking a cliff in the redwoods. Magnificent. However, we'll probably never be able to have this view, which is actually something people want you to submit ideas for. I'm gonna get my head. It's the Hero X Lunar Toilet. This is an actual contest. If you look up Lunar Toilet, they want you to design a toilet for astronauts to use on the moon. One of the great parts about this toilet, what is it? A call for designs. I forget the exact term. It's a contest to make a toilet for the moon, and they need you to be able to make a toilet that's not going to be messy, and that you can also throw up in without putting your entire head inside. Seriously.
I'm upset because I already rejected mine.
What was yours?
It was basically a Sabian wrapped in tinfoil, but I still thought it was cool.
You go bathroom on a Sibian?
You're in space. You can do anything in space.
So that's why I can't go into that other room. In other space news, they found a black hole, or maybe a neutron star. They don't know.
You're a child. You shouldn't have laughed. Sorry, continue.
Anyway, they don't know if it is exactly a neutron star or a black hole because it is in this weird middle ground between the 2 objects where it either collapses infinitely on itself or collapses to the point where it's thrown out all the particles except neutrons and they just make a bunch of radio noises. How exciting. This is a new thing as they're getting better at detecting stranger and tinier things in space. They did a spacewalk today and replaced a bunch of batteries on the space station. I wasn't aware that there was a crap load of batteries on the space station, but since it rotates around the Earth every 90 minutes, it's going to be in dark for like 45 minutes, right? So those solar panels aren't going to be putting any energy, so it makes sense. Anyway, I've changed my iPhone's battery once.
I did mine too. I was very appreciative of that.
I can't really do it anymore. My skills are deteriorating.
COVID has struck a lot of things. Lives, skills.
My laptop. This is the 5G signal being beamed to Earth. No.
Seems legitimate, which reminds me, I forgot about my segment that I should do really quick.
Oh, you want to do a drink?
No. This is just the daily report I was going to include. Marvin Martian. arrested and executed. Ridley Scott's Alien, that weird xenomorph thing, pretty much arrested and is now in Guantanamo Bay. Also, E.T. arrested and executed. Also, them weird gray things arrested and executed.
Damn.
Yeah.
Donald Rumsfeld arrested in Gitmo. If you don't know what we're talking about, you can find this lady rattling off all the things that Q is supposedly reporting on. It's very exciting. This is also not 5G being beamed to the Earth. This is promo art that the Breakthrough Listen project announced, or put in their announcement about a catalog they're putting out about different types of... They put out like 700 objects. It's called like the Exotica Calendar Log, which sounds like something you look at before you're supposed to like do a bachelor party thing that makes you feel kind of weird and gross inside. Anyway, so what is it? It's a bunch of like just kind of like standard objects. Like it's like one of each of like, oh, here's like a red giant star, here's like a blue giant star, here's a yellow star, here's a black hole. It's different examples of things to compare signals to. So if you're searching for alien intelligence that's dumb enough to broadcast, you can compare it against other radio sources and, you know, see if it matches up or not. And they've included some weird ones, too, to kind of check out as well. Like Omama, that little weird asteroid that flew in and out, or comet, or whatever it was. Rama object.
Isn't it Oumuamua?
Oumuamua, thank you. And, I'm going, oh, mama.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, don't butcher it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. What else is there? But yeah, like, stuff like that. Like, the Tabby star, that star with the weird... kind of dimming and brightening light every now and again that people love arguing about. Anyway, they made a nice little thing for that. What else? Why, it's a rover on Mars. What's so special about this? You can help train the software that helps the rover get around Mars and make it a little speedier. If you've ever seen someone do like a demo of how fast the rover goes, it does not go fast at all. Like a few feet a day, like 20 feet a day is like considered a pretty brisk clip, even though it's like the size of an SUV. Because you gotta wait for the signals to come back to Earth, which is like 20 to 40 minutes away every time you do it.
Fun fact, it's alone up there, and once a year it sings happy birthday to itself, all alone, where no one will hear it.
Fun fact.
Happy birthday.
I fucking hate that.
It really gets this goat.
It sucks. But you can help train the rover to drive around some more, or software that they're gonna put in a rover or something. Put the rover driver out of a job, so maybe you don't want to do this. Anyway.
You should, it's lonely.
Oh, and speaking of rover news, there's a new rover launching, but it's been delayed a couple times. Apparently, this one's going to go look for life on Mars, and straight up, it got contaminated, so they need to, like, decontaminate it like crazy. Anyone in the chat?
Oh.
Yeah, there's people in the chat.
Yeah, there is people in the chat.
Mr. Skinskull.
Mr. Skinskull.
The murder
I just
weapon.
Got very distracted.
It's okay.
He has a very good handle.
Mm-hmm. Hello, Mr. Skinskull. And hello to anyone else in chat. Hi. Alright, I think that's it for space news. This is all the news about space. Oh, they found some more black holes in a dust cloud, and they merged. And they actually caught it on a gravitational wave detector. And also, they got the light from a transient survey. It's a survey that, like, literally scans the sky constantly. So, pretty cool. That's the first time I've ever seen it and like seen the light from it as well. And yes, you can see the light from a black hole merger if it's merging in stuff that's gonna like get wrapped up in it in their business. It's like knowing there's a fight at 2 a.m. in the Waffle House. Even though you can't see it, you can see a bunch of people like screaming and getting thrown around. I miss Waffle House.
Me too.
Let's go to one of the states that doesn't believe in Corona. Go to Waffle House. Get real sick.
Worth it.
Okay. Now, that's basically it for space news. So, let's check in with tonight's featured guest. And we are extremely excited for our guest. She is an expert on Art Bell and hiking and lots of other excellent things. Let me make sure we got you in here.
And Russian bathhouses, I should
Oh, yes, Russian bathhouses. And I gotta get the preview window. Let's get the preview window fixed before we bring on our awesome guest. And we got the Zoom.
Oh, hey, Sibel. Sibel's watching.
Oh,
Miss
awesome. You. Hi.
Hi.
How are you? Welcome, Miranda.
Thank you.
So we're here to talk about one of our favorite subjects, UFOs. And I'm going to adjust this a little bit. And while I do that, do you want to tell us about your UFO sightings?
Well, there's one I had recently that I was really excited to tell you about. It happened while I was backpacking. I went to the Sierras for the weekend, last weekend. And Friday night, I was in the tent. It had gotten dark. It was like 10 o'clock because it's like solstice, I think, on Friday.
Mm-hmm. Friday, Saturday, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So it took forever to get dark, and when you're hiking, you're really tired, and you just like are kind of like, okay, when's it gonna get dark? Because I know I want to look at all the stars, but it's really late, and I've been walking all day, and so I tried to stay up as late as possible, but eventually I just like had to call it quits. So I took out my contact lenses, and I'm like really not good at seeing things without them. Like 2200 in each eye, pretty bad.
Oh wow!
So I was like lying on my back, looking up at the stars through the tent mesh, and I could see some stars like before I took my contacts out. But once I did, they were like gone. It was just like black.
Mm-hmm.
But what I did see before I like shut my eyes to go sleepy was a big ball of light that felt like it was like 10 feet up, and it just like appeared above me, went like across, and then disappeared, just like blinked out. And I was like lying right next to my boyfriend, and I was like, did you see that? And I don't think he did. And I don't know if that's because he wasn't paying attention, like, or was looking at something else, or I just like it didn't actually happen. But like a lot of things when I'm backpacking, I'm like, okay, I know that there are an array of things that probably hurt or kill me in the night, and all I have to do is decide to not care about that and get some sleep. Because the one thing that's for sure is if you don't get some sleep, you'll be miserable.
Oh yeah.
If it fear mauls you and you die, then you're dead. So you're not sleepy. You're just dead. So that's fine. So I was just like, well, maybe that was a weird alien thing. Nothing I can do about it now.
Yeah.
So then I could sleep. And then Monday I told you about it once I got back to the station.
So, and this was, where was this again?
In the Sierras.
In the Sierras. And you're pretty high up.
Right outside Yosemite, I think.
Okay. Yeah. Let's see if we can solve it.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so you saw a big ball of light, very briefly, felt like it was close to you. Seemed like it.
Yeah, it felt really close.
But in classic UFO fashion, you couldn't get a good view of it because right beforehand you did something to your vision.
Right.
Because they know. And that's when they emerge. That's the Jacques Vallée version of stuff.
That's why when I was 10 years old, they hurt my vision so much and made me severely nearsighted.
It was all just to show up years later.
Someone in the chat believes that you might have been abducted.
Ooh.
Could happen.
Possibly.
I'm like here right now, though. Like,
you haven't had any dreams after there's no owls?
Well, they always bring it back, apparently.
Yeah.
Sometimes with cool stuff.
Yeah. Well, there's some...
Heard owls. Are you supposed to see an owl?
Oh, yeah.
That's like owls. A thing. Yeah, with abductees, a lot of times they have like dreams about owls or they're being stalked by wolves. It's a very strange thing where it's like a lot of like that. But you didn't see any like weird animals looking at you in the night kind of dreams or what they called cover memories, like gray monkeys hanging out.
Your brain either puts that there so you can handle it, or the aliens do it, or you've done too much acid and a fifth of vodka at the same time. True life, don't do it.
I almost never remember my dreams.
Okay.
But on this trip I did. And one of the days I woke up, I like had this feeling that like my brother had died. And I like turned to my boyfriend and I was like, hey, my brother's not dead, right? And he was like, good morning, no.
And he's alive?
He's alive. Yeah, sorry. Yes.
I would assume you wouldn't be laughing, but... Oh, he's dead!
We all have that one like family member where it's not too sad and kind of funny.
Everyone's at the funeral, they're just like, we're gonna say open bar after, right? Awesome.
You're just like, totally dead.
Someone's up at the dais. It's like, he was such a wonderful soul. But anyway, alive brother, very good. Still a mystery. So, let me think of like I'm running Project Blue Book. I'm going to just completely figure out like some way to like dismiss it. Oh, it was St. Elmo's fire. That's what you saw. That is not.
That's what I thought it was.
It possibly could be ball lightning. I've seen it once.
Really?
Yeah.
Ball lightning.
On an airplane.
Really?
It was badass.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. It was over like Iceland or something.
Ground, though.
I saw something that was like electrical and bally, but again, I was in and out of sleep and I looked out the window and I was like, oh wow, neat. I was also probably arrived on the plane in some form of intoxicated state and then woke up later over Iceland, so who knows?
Don't you hate when that happens?
To all of it.
But I mean,
relatable.
yeah, I mean, it wasn't a drone because it was too close, and if you saw it, it would have made a noise.
Yeah.
Yeah, it might have been something staticky. You know, it wasn't like a. I mean, that'd have been a hell of a big lightning bug. So I don't think it's.
No, it was way bigger than a lightning bug. And static, like when you're camping, especially, you're like in the dark and the fabrics and stuff rub together, and you can see the little bitty sparks. It was way bigger than that. So maybe like real big static.
It's possible. Like that's kind of what ball lightning is, from my like completely lazy understanding of how it works. So is that the only time you've seen anything strange?
UFO-wise.
UFO-wise, yeah.
I think so. I mean, I was telling you too that I went backpacking a couple weeks before, and it was warm enough that we could just like lay out and watch the stars come out.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like so annoyed because we'd be like, "Oh, a star," and then it would start moving real slow.
Yeah.
Like this.
Mm-hmm.
So like, oh, the sky is just filled with garbage, dude. It's like you want to like lay out and look at the beautiful stars come out, but it's all like, I assume it's all Elon Musk like.
A lot of them now. It's crazy because it used to be like it was a treat. It's like, hey, look, a satellite! Wow, the space station! Oh my god! Now it's like another one. No.
What are they all doing up there? Why do we have so much shit up there now?
They're shooting 5G at us.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I mean, they sort of are. they're telecom satellites. I mean, most satellites are telecom satellites with occasional military like spy sats and stuff. The brightest one you're going to see is the space station, which is very, very, very bright. It's like the brightest thing in the sky, aside from the moon when it pops out. And that's actually awesome. Because it's really big, and it actually has a pretty low orbit, too. It's like not a couple hundred miles up at most. I think it's like around 180 miles up, which seems low for the space station, you know? Oh, China's launching its own GPS soon from Mr. Skin Skull. Yes, if they haven't already done that, European Union and Russia also doing their own GPS because they don't trust us for some reason. I wonder why. Yeah.
Everything's turning out really great.
Yeah. So, but the thing is you saw the weird thing when you're looking at the stars. I've seen like a couple, like the satellites I've seen like, it's not like the other, maybe a week ago, maybe a week and a half ago, I was like checking out the Milky Way and like the big zero gravity chair, which is very fun, indulgent. And, but the thing was, star time observing tip. If you want to see the Milky Way this month, wait until about 11 or 12 and it'll be nice and high up. Yeah, look for the summer triangle, but then over to Scorpius, and then trace it over through Cassiopeia. You'll see it from north to over the east, and then into the south. It's great. And the later you go, the higher up you'll go.
I always think it's just a cloud.
Yeah, so if you see a glowing cloud, stick around a little while longer. Let your eyesight adjust. You'll see the Milky Way. In Cygnus, you'll be able to trace out some of the cloud itself, which is awesome. But yeah, I was looking at the Milky Way and enjoying it, and then I saw a satellite pass by, and then I saw several shooting stars go past the satellite. And it was very strange to me, and I'm always like weirded out by that, because I grew up in like, I've been talking about SDI all the time, the Star Wars program.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of those same folks are now back in the administration with Trump. Like, they're just back. Like, they never really leave for long. And they've been like, can we just... And they just tore up the treaty about not owning the moon. And they're ignoring, like, treaties about militarizing space. And they put a bunch of weird stuff up there now. So it's like, one of the things that they didn't do for SDI, one of the reasons they kind of stopped it, was putting military hardware up there. Like, oh, we're not really supposed to do this. Maybe we can put a laser up here And then they found out lasers don't really work through when you have to shoot something coming up through the atmosphere.
Right. Yeah.
But they turned out that they found out the lasers are great for doing observatory work. So one lady actually got it declassified. She's like, "Can we just use this to adjust our mirrors, please?"
Oh.
It was not good for shooting down missiles, but it was very good for like crisping up our images. But anyway, so I'm looking at this, and so my thought was immediately like the most fun option, which was, oh, that must be some experimental like defense satellite, and it's like shooting lasers or little bullshit things off to the side, hitting the atmosphere. It was probably just a coincidence, and there was a couple of meteors passing by satellite. But our mind loves to fill in the gaps with UFOs too.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh yeah, GoldenEye!
It was a UFO because it was unidentified, and it was flying, and it was an object, so...
Technically, you saw a UFO. I've seen a UFO. We've all seen UFOs. Brian in the chat also wants to ask, have you seen any cryptids while hiking?
My mom asks me this all the time as well.
Mm-hmm.
I have not seen any. I feel like... I don't know. It just feels like it's not in their interest for us to see them, and they're smarter than us, and it's their turf.
True.
So I never expect to see them going out, but I have been to several Bigfoot museums, like at least 3 different Bigfoot museums.
Nice.
Yeah.
We almost, didn't we, like, way back in the day, almost go to the Bigfoot convention in San Francisco?
I really wanted to.
Yeah.
I was hoping James Wackenhut was there.
Who's James Wackenhut?
He's the one who's constantly posting online about Bigfoot being in full estrus, like a menstrual Bigfoot.
Whoa! What?
And pendulous breasts. It's like some... Just Google it. It's good.
So this is like the Bigfoot version of the guy that makes the erotic art about the space aliens that abduct him.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
Mr.
Yeah.
Huggins.
Yeah,
But
Huggins.
very, very mammalian, because, it's Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh, is skywatching still viable in the era of rampant space debris? Of course! You can still see it, and they mostly actually travel north-south. They go over the poles. So, yeah, you can still see. Like, Milky Way still looks great, you just see stuff passing through it. But it's, like, fine. The worst is actually terrestrial, like, any kind... Especially with people upgrading, like, municipal lighting to, like, much brighter, whiter LEDs. That part's actually... So if you can actually talk to your local lighting ordinance people and be like, can you shield your lights properly? That would actually help a lot towards keeping your skies nice and crisp and beautiful. I've actually done that because I'm a giant dork. It's extremely fun. In Oakland, I went to a meeting and was like, can we please not have these kind of lights? And they're like, sure, we will not put these kind of lights in. And then they put those kind of lights in. And then there was a follow-up thing, and it was all the people from the hills got extremely upset about the lights because they're blinding, and you're literally going up a hill. You're hitting this bright LED once you hit the dark, and it wipes out your night vision entirely. People don't think about that when doing lighting in towns. It's like, no.
It creates like shadows that are sort of pixelated. Have you ever seen that effect?
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, instead of the older lights that were just like a kind of a soft thing, it's like you look down at a shadow and it's like spots. It looks like computery. It's so super strange.
Well, it is. It's the LED chip versus like an actual bulb or filament or something. So it does have a pixelated effect. And the funny part is they're supposed to last a lot longer, but the power supply behind those burns out way quicker than a lot of the old lights. So, oops! I can't believe the company made up a bunch of crap about the reliability of lights to secure a contract with the town. On our street, it's funny, we have a light that shorts out a lot, and it's a new light, which is very funny, and the old sodium lights are still here. And it's extremely funny to walk through the street at night, and the sodium lights, you can still look up and see the sky just fine. When that light's off, Milky Way pops right out. When the light shutters back to light, you can't see anything, and all of a sudden you can't see your surroundings nearly as well, because it's much brighter, and the glare kills your night vision. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's why when you're hiking, there's headlamps have a red setting, so it doesn't destroy your night vision.
Totally. Yep, red light and amber light are some of the best. Depending on a person, your cones might be better at seeing stuff in red light versus amber, too. Yeah, it's kind of a weird thing. Amateur astronomers will debate it quite a bit. It's very fun to check out. I'm actually in the amber camp now. Oh, but red's still much better than, say, bright, harsh blue light. So.
I always put his foot down. Controversial.
Oh yeah, love you, sodium lights. Thank you, Betty. Yes, sodium lights are great. Also, some municipalities, you can still only use sodium lights because there are observatories near there, and they've actually dealt with light pollution for decades by having a sodium light filter on their equipment. And since it's such a narrow band, you're not really cutting out most of the universe's light, just the light from town. You know, excepting if some civilization loves using sodium lights and, you know, you want to pick them up, but oh well. But yeah, so that's a kind of an interesting thing. So as this full spectrum lights come up, the filters don't work anymore. It's been an issue in San Jose with Lick Observatory. A community that does great work on light pollution is actually Flagstaff, Arizona, because they have a bunch of observatories near Kitt Peak. I think it's Kitt Peak. And yeah, you can like see the Milky Way from town. Like, not 100%, but you can see a lot, like in certain parts of it. It's startling. Kind of neat. So yeah, you can do smart lighting and preserve the skies. And the taxpayers' money. Everyone wins. Except the lighting company. Oh well. Oh, but anyway, since we're talking about fun UFOs that we've seen, let's play a game. Do you want to play a game?
Sure.
Alright, let's play UFO game. Alright, so this is a little dim. I don't know if you can see this. We're starting out with a simple one. Do you see it's very faint in the center. For those of you watching online, you may not be able to see it either. This is actually a very good UFO test.
Wait, oh, I see.
You see it?
That's
barely.
That's just like this. That's just a satellite or something.
That is a satellite. That is what a satellite looks like. It's rather dim and travels very slowly and silently a lot across the sky.
How disappointing.
Well, here's another one. We are going to now check out another UFO. Let's see what we have here. Now, what is this one? Oh no, Miranda.
I can't see it.
Can't see it.
Yeah, like whatever you're looking at, I don't see an image.
Oh no.
That is a weather balloon. Because that's what I am trained to say.
Oh, it is. Let's see. Let's see if we can get you on. Oh, if you open up the folder, this is the second movie that's in there. Of the zip things. Yeah. Now.
Oh, now I can hear you. Which is it? Part 0?
Okay, let me see. Doo-doo-doo. All right. UFO game. Let me look at my folder. It was number 5 video. Marco Langbroek.
Oh, now I see it. Okay. Well, this looks like Santa with a ton of reindeer. Probably that's a rational explanation, right?
Oh, wait. I just did something.
Oh, you went gray. Your whole screen.
Let's see. Oh, my beautiful plugin. Oh, wait. Let me start my beautiful plugin so Miranda can actually see what we're seeing. Virtual camera. I wrote down a thing to do everything correctly, but forgot that step.
Hey, now I can see it.
Okay. So what this is, it is the Starlink satellites a day after they've been launched. 50 at a time.
How many are there?
50 or 60 at a clip inside of one of those Falcon 9 rockets. And then they shoot off. It's actually cool to watch them shoot off, and then they slowly drift apart. But yeah, for the first few days, they are bright as shit. And it's called
less bright?
That's a good question. Well, as they go up higher, and they go into their own orbits, they kind of have these little engines that kind of slowly they drift off. This is called a satellite train, and they eventually drift apart into their own orbits. But for several weeks afterwards, you'll see this increasingly further apart and dimmer. So if you've seen like a silent light go by and then like a minute or two later another one on close to the same path, that is almost certainly a Starlink satellite. So they're all internet satellites.
I love it.
It looks you'll see it. There's going to be many more launches of these. Unfortunately, people. I mean, it brings high-speed satellite service to people around the world, so that's the big defense of it. But it's also like, they're not just giving this away for free. They're going to charge a lot of money. So,
Great.
but they are designed to be deorbited or fall into orbit, so they won't be up there like thousands of years. They're trying to like dim them down supposedly, so when they're launched, they're not as bad. But the problem is, they're like, oh, paint the satellites black, which that seems to make sense at first. But then if they're up in space, they just get like baked by the sun and short out if you paint them black.
Right.
That's why they're always covered in like gold or silver foil or whatever. So I think they put like a little umbrella on one of these. Literally, it's got a sunshade, and that seemed to work okay.
Oh, that's cute.
That works good when you're hiking in the desert. Like, it seems stupid to bring a big umbrella because it's so dry, but it helps with the sun.
Oh yeah, I'm a big fan of parasols.
Yeah,
parasol.
He can't handle the sun at all. It's kind of sad. We went to Hawaii. He like didn't see the beach at all.
I saw the beach at night and
At
late
night.
evening.
That's
and
true.
Early morning.
I shouldn't make fun, but I do.
I am. Oh, so here's a UFO.
This isn't real, right?
This is the gun camera footage from the Navy. This is from an FA-18 Hornet.
This is the video that made me kind of lose my mind a bit.
Oh, do you want to tell your story about quarantine?
So I was sitting at home looking at the internet or something like that. I can't remember too much, but I think we started talking about this video that was declassified by the government. And I was like, wow, that's pretty trippy, but because everything is so weird right now, this is not shocking at all. Like, I don't care. Like, global pandemic, right? Like, whatever. But then David was like, yeah, Mark Opus from Blink-182 actually saw that through. That's when I fucking lost it.
Whatever his name is, yeah, I forget.
I think it's Mark Opus.
No, not Opus.
Oh, is it the other one?
Opus.
Opus? Is it?
No.
I mean, it's spelled like that with 2 P's.
I can't remember.
I'm gonna look it up.
But either way, Dave was like, yeah, the guy from Blink-182 kind of got that together. That's when I just lost it, because it was like, Trump's in the White House, I'm surviving a global pandemic, and the guy from Blink-182 brought, like, space aliens to America, and I was just like, no. It was like my brain was like, yeah, I'm sorry, this is, like, way too much information for you to handle in one day.
Yeah, Jasmine started crying, and I thought, oh, yeah, it's pretty funny. Oh, this is the tears of madness.
I was just like screaming. I just want shit to be normal again, because this is like seriously fun. Because imagine like you have to go back in time and talk to your like self as a child and explain. By the way, Trump in the White House, global pandemic, aliens, the guy from Blink-182 will set it off. I'm sorry, that sounds crazy all in one. Like what?
Tom DeLonge.
Tom DeLonge. Okay.
Tom DeLonge, and he did He spent like $30 million of his own money or
he
something.
He died for our sins.
What is money for?
I mean, honestly, go for it, man. That is way more fun than most people.
In the U.S.?
Like, just reinvent.
Climate Accountability Stadium or whatever that was.
Warren Buffett having $1 billion and like multiple billions of dollars and just like living in his ranch home still. Like, dude, put a shark pit in there or something. Jeez.
Oh yeah, a moat with sharks. That's what I want.
But yeah, so
someday.
The kid got in blank check. Just start there and then maybe like come up with some more stuff. Water slides. That kind of thing. Yeah.
A pack of feral animals I can like train to like kill. I mean, you might as well think big at that point.
Let's just do the surgery to raccoons to make them real smart.
I know. I'm kind of into raccoons now that I've met one, too.
So, what do you think this may be?
Whoa. Oh, it moved.
It's just on a loop, so it's going back
okay.
to... Yeah.
It is a still from a 1980s film that I most likely saw.
Does look like the intro to The Thing. The box art.
Yeah, kinda, honestly. It looks like something that's coming closer.
So this is actually kind of close to us, but it's not coming closer. What happened? This is actually from a group of earlier telecom satellites that flooded the sky called the Iridium Cluster or constellation. There was like 79 satellites they launched in like the mid to late 90s. It's like multiple billions of dollars. Some private company did this. So if you saw during the Gulf War when they were like trying to sell it to everyone and they had like, we're reporting from Baghdad here, and they have this phone like this size and everything looked like crap. Those were the satellites for that phone system. And this is one of those satellites. They had these big antennae on them, and when they're drifting above you, sometimes they hit the sun just right, and that's called an iridium flare. So if you've ever seen like a satellite tracing across the sky and then it gets startlingly bright, like you think like it looks like the aliens are locking onto you, that's what it is. Unless it's the aliens locking onto you.
That'd be sick.
This is actually a view of it, like a time lapse.
That looks pretty.
And actually, the funny part is
I know what I saw, except it was way, way closer.
interesting. Yeah, so it was not an iridium crashing, but that's a weird effect. Like something like turned a light on in front of you, almost, right? Like it almost felt like that.
Yeah, moved and then went off.
Weird.
It's so weird.
So it's a drone, but there's not supposed to have a little bit of noise. Yeah, they're very strange. It's startling to see it in real life too. Like the satellite train just does not look natural. Like it's just, oh no, what's that? That looks bad. But there was only 79 of these, and so this was actually a treat to see something like this happen.
You think they did like 10 more than they wanted to, just so people wouldn't chuckle?
Nice. No, they actually did put a bunch extra for failures.
Oh.
Yeah, so you can't repair them because they were really high up, so they would just like, oh, that one's dead, next one. Switch over. And they have little ion thrusters to get them back and forth, or ion, or probably hydrazine. But they, they're mostly all gone though. They all got deorbited recently. So there's a new generation that doesn't do this.
Deorbited mean?
Literally, they fire little thrusters on them and shove them back to Earth where they burn up in the atmosphere.
Sounds safe.
Oh,
yeah.
So they just burn them?
Yeah, they just trash them. It's like, bye!
Does any stuff come down and land in Siberia or something?
Once in a while. Usually, no. The satellites are usually like small enough they just completely burn out. But like, what was the joke? Skylab definitely hit Australia when it got deorbited. That space station in the 70s. And Mir hit Australia as well when it was deorbited.
Lucky Australia, wow.
Yeah, so if you're Australia and the space station's getting deorbited, it's coming for you. And if you're Russia and a meteor's gonna hit, it's gonna hit you. That's just how it goes. And if there's an alien crashing, it's gonna hit the American Southwest.
Good tip.
USA. What is this? What do you think?
I know exactly what that is. Should I say? Isn't that like...
That's something coming up from Earth, right?
Yes.
Like it's like a laser?
Totally, 100%. It's one of those observatory lasers we actually mentioned briefly earlier.
Yeah.
I think this is one off of Chile. So they shoot the laser up into the air, and they actually check the image that the mirrors get from it. And if it's a little wiggly, they distort the mirrors in the same way to adjust for the distortion. It's called adaptive optics. It's fascinating, and it came from them trying to hit ICBMs with lasers from space. They're like, the laser bends when it hits another medium, like air, and then it's turbulent, and then the laser misses by hundreds of miles. Oh, hey, this works great. Wow, everything's a lot clearer. Can we... Oh, the lasers suck and don't actually burn anything. Can we use this for, like, space stuff where it's actually useful?
Also, quick note in the chat, people are bringing up Australia, and I will say it was founded by criminals, so karma. I'm kidding, I don't know.
Australia was founded by the Aboriginal folks who were there originally.
That's true.
And then got horribly treated by the people that arrived.
Afterwards. That's why all that stuff happened.
Apologies to Australian folks in the chat.
All
your accents are delightful to me.
I know, picnic at Hanging Rock.
Yeah, we
watched that last night on the French channel.
Falling asleep to something that just happens to show up does not count as watching. But yeah, apparently.
You watch it in French?
Yeah, it was clearly made in English.
All the time.
Watching it
For sure, it's in English. Yeah,
it's my comfort thing.
he just like turns on French stuff, and I'm just like, okay, I guess this is my cue to like fall asleep.
It's nice to sort of understand what's going on screen.
And I don't, so.
Ooh, here's a fun fact about watching French television out of Canada, because it's Quebecois. Sometimes there's a second audio portion, which sometimes it's in English. But last night, Hangin' Rock, it was in called quote-unquote Middle French. You switch on the second audio, it's in French, like from France.
Isn't your mind blown, or is it not because you're a regular
it sounds much
person?
different. Yeah, Quebecois. It is more like a French, like this. Bonjour, the buff. And then.
My wife is France.
Ooh, delicious.
Yeah, maybe.
Ooh, tragically
Here's a
hip.
classic.
Yes.
So, Miranda. Let's see.
That's a lenticular cloud, right?
Yes. And you've seen a lot of them hiking in the mountains, right?
Extra points.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, the least
So
form.
cool.
They're awesome.
David will always stop and be like, hey, look at that. And I'll be like, yeah.
Honestly, very nice touch in the beginning of Independence Day when they emerged from lenticular cloud looking things.
It's almost like they planned it.
It's almost like they planned it for years. Okay.
Oh, nice.
And this could be a couple things. What do you think this?
There's the Milky Way and some trees. And then scratch on the film.
That's actually a meteorite caught on camera.
Did you take that picture?
Oh, shit,
I did not
cool.
take that picture.
Oh.
Sometimes a meteorite can look an awful lot like a iridium flare that you've captured on camera. Because they both have a bright flash at one point. So your only clue is if you've done a series. And if there's no before or afters, it's a meteorite. And if there is a before and after, it's a satellite. So that's the trick. If you're taking a long exposure and you get a streak across, that might help you figure out which is which. I saw a very irritable article by someone called, "You did not get a picture of a meteorite." And I was like, man, I'm sorry. But that's made me forever question it. What is this?
Oh, the ramblings of a madman.
Ooh. Thank you, Lim Soup.
Should I read this aloud? I just kind of look at them and respond. when
Lim
I
Soup
feel-
has a picture of a meteorite going through the northern lights if you want it for our slideshow. Not today, but we may revisit it later, because that would be awesome. That's a great picture. Oh, congrats. Oh, was that taken in Sweden by chance, or Iceland? Let us know in the chat. Oh, this is, oh, by the way, so, back to what this is.
Betty says it's a note from the Zodiac Killer, and I agree.
It's actually Kenneth Arnold describing what he saw when in 1947 or 8 when he was flying in the Cascades and saw several objects skipping like saucers across the mountain.
Still giving it to Betty.
Yeah.
This is where we get flying saucer from.
Sweden, yes. Yep, that is 100% what you get flying saucer from. This picture is not...
Nobody talked about saucers really outside of flying saucers too much.
And it was him describing the movement of them, too, interestingly. There's a picture of them later, hint, in part 2, that you can see. And I'm going to have my own conspiracy about what he saw in a second. Yeah.
It reminds me of like the flying cigar that French winery supposedly saw, and
Yeah.
the boozy wine out of it.
Do you know about the airships sighting craze in the 1800s, late 1800s?
Yeah, I think I heard something about that.
It's
Vaguely.
wild. Jules Verne wrote a book about it. And it's a very extremely fun in my movie in the 60s. I think it's a Hammer film called, it was adapted as Master of the World. And it's a dude that just like, it's a person he had previously, like this mad aviator. And he's like, goes to the aviation club to declare that he has assembled a vehicle that can fly through the skies at command, unlike a balloon. It's basically like that space, the air pirates from Tailspin. He makes that and flies around.
Oh, yeah.
And it rules. It's very fun. It also goes under the water like a submarine and on the water. And on the land like a race car. It's one of his most... It's great. It's one of his most fun books, honestly. It's extremely fun, and the movie is also a trip. It's got all the Hammer people in it, including an extremely young and ripped, like very handsome Charles Bronson.
Alright.
He sneaks onto it. Master of the World. Great movie to fall asleep to while watching it on the French channel. But yeah. So there was a craze back in the day where they were seeing airships, which is
a question that's kind of a cool one. Hey, why are UFOs always recognizably a generation or so ahead of our current technology?
Thanks, Brian. That's a great question, and that might deal with the psychological aspect of UFO sightings, especially because in the 1800s they were seeing airships when they just really had balloons and like a couple of real primitive dirigibles. So they're like, oh, look at that in the sky. That must be someone's secret airship.
That makes a lot of sense because I think a long, long time ago when the Native Americans first saw the ships coming in from those racist-ass white people who did some shitty-ass stuff, they didn't recognize what ships were. So they had like a very hard time, I forget what they described it as, but they had hard time seeing it for the longest time.
It's like a cognitive thing where you see something but you can't place it. And
they
it's just
could just see the water acting weird.
It's out of your own context completely. Yeah.
Funny story.
Like seeing your parents naked for the first time.
Why do you keep bringing that up?
That's on the Eric Andre thing last night.
The French channel too.
There was a French channel movie I saw when I was... Anyway, yeah, let's look up French movie. You know what? Don't look that up. That'll just bring you to Pornhub now. Anyway.
Stepmom, Bug's son.
Let's just say the plot of this movie is... do not decide when you're like 15 to go hire a sex worker if you haven't seen your mom in 15 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Why did you just tell me that now? Oh, this is a movie.
It was a French film.
Oh.
It wasn't something from my life. Dear Lord.
Yeah, not something from your life, Dave. At all.
This is the first you're hearing of it, Jasmine.
So,
on Star Time.
This is great therapy for us.
What is this object that we're seeing here?
Oh, I know what that is.
And
is that Venus?
Airplane?
Not an airplane, good guess. Venus. Yes.
Wow.
Which is something that in my...
Yes.
Airplanes are something you'll see too. And sometimes at the right angle and stuff, it's like, what the hell?
I only know that because whenever it's in the sky, David will make a point to point it out every single time.
It's Venus. That's when I like Venus and Mercury. They're great.
Venus?
Sometimes you see Venus in the day, and it looks extremely weird when you see it in the day because it's in one of those things where it's out of your normal context. So it's extremely bright. You see a weird orb-looking light in the sky, and it's like, what the hell is this? So,
just Venus. It's never anything cool.
It's never anything cool. Well, Venus is kind of cool.
No, it's actually extremely hot.
Yeah, it's a whole other planet.
Ooh, it is hot.
Yeah.
Rocks and actually a shitload of volcanoes. It's pretty metal, honestly.
I know. I'm glad that that's like a feminine thing.
And the only people that can land on it reliably are Russians, the Soviet Union.
For 15, no, it's half an hour.
For real? Why?
It's like 900 degrees, but they know how to make equipment that just is like not like super like all a bunch of bells and whistles. Just like what will work. And they have like basically clockwork drive mechanisms on this to land and survive in the sulfur clouds and like on the 900 degree surface.
Didn't it only last like 15 minutes though?
5 minutes to half an hour. The Venera probe series, they're great. You should there's a few pictures of the landers and stuff. They even tried to get a balloon into the upper atmosphere with one of their launches.
Did they go back after the first time?
Oh, they went many times. It's a thing. The U.S. consistently can land on Mars. Russia consistently go to Venus.
That's
flip
actually
it around.
More impressive.
We can't. Either country is having a hard time with it. It's very strange. Yeah, but yeah, one of the great things about it is like there wasn't really many computers on the Venera thing. They just figured out to do analog stuff to like take the pictures and upload them to the satellite and do measurements. It's fascinating because the computers would melt. Like you can't solder does not last on 900 degrees. But yeah. Venus kind of fun.
Enough, yeah.
Often a UFO. I've had to answer questions from people asking me, what's that? I see it's hovering every night. I'm like, oh god, I'm the guy saying it's a UFO. It's Venus. I'm so sorry.
I'll be right back. 2 seconds.
Okay.
Keep going.
That's like a bat, right?
Yeah, a bat around a light.
I saw a bunch of bats hiking too, and I love them so much because they like eat mosquitoes.
Yeah.
I hated it.
They are wonderful, wonderful hiking friends.
Ooh, I love this. Good.
What are these?
That is a scene from the amazing film Communion, starring a young Christopher Walken and some other people that were not as memorable.
No.
No?
That's swamp gas.
Oh, of course.
Yes, this is from...
Prosper Family Reunion.
Yeah!
That does make sense.
Not enough pickup trucks.
DMT aliens. Yeah, that makes perfect
DMT
sense,
aliens.
honestly.
Honestly, that's probably where they're really from. What is it? What are they? What's the name? Jeffrey Rowland had
That
a
was
pet
from Brian,
in
but
his
Mr.
comics of one of
Skinsall,
them.
that's DTF aliens, hopefully.
Well, in that movie, they sort of are, but it's kind of unwelcome, to put it lightly. I mean, Whitley Strieber definitely has some psychosexual issues going on with his alien stuff.
He wants him in the ass, but won't say it. That's what that whole film means.
Damn, dude. It's pleasant. Guys,
Or not?
check it out.
Did I go too
It's
far,
okay.
or did I actually speak the truth, which I think I did.
But yeah, so these are the aliens from Whitley Strieber's Communion. Not a good movie. However, an amazing collection of it is on YouTube called Communion Best Scenes. It is 8 minutes long, and it's all you need to see. True enough. Those are not cool aliens.
Those aliens are not nice.
Oh yeah. What are
Ooh.
these?
That is an extremely awful waste of taxpayer dollars.
Is it correct?
Yeah, it's one of those things that like doesn't work when it rains or something.
It doesn't work when it rains, but it was an earlier version of the plane that doesn't work when it rains. I think it's flanked by other planes that don't work when it rains, now that you mention it.
I remember when it came out and like the media was jizzing their pants over how amazing that plane was, and I was like, whoa, technology, and then in the end it's just like...
Did you know they made 2 stealth bombers?
Why we can't have healthcare.
I know!
Ah.
It's flying in the sky right there. That's the healthcare.
Don't you want to be able to nuke a missile complex in Kazakhstan? I would like to not have, I would like to get insulin, please.
Yeah.
Oh, tough.
I know.
Oh, but...
Please help me, my family is dying. Budget. Tweet.
But, here's a fun fact about the B-2 bomber and the F-117 stealth fighter, which was named fighter so it could also make a bomber, not have it get canceled. Isn't that exciting? Alien sightings or UFO and aliens have really picked up in like the 80s, especially in the Southwest. And that's when the UFO started, Air Force started leaking stuff more. And I guess Bob Lazar, we all know Mr. Bob Lazar from Area 51, started saying his stuff.
I disagree. That's the year that Special K was introduced, so technically.
But the big thing now is that they think a lot of those sightings were just of the B-2 and like other planes being tested. And the Air Force is like, oh, we can't talk about the aliens we're working with.
Oh, shit.
And they just, my thing is, I think Bob Lazar. What are your feelings about Bob Lazar? Does he believe he's telling the truth, or is he just making something up?
Oh, that's always the question, right? Like,
Yeah.
does the grifter believe his own Kool-Aid?
Yeah.
That's a metaphor. I think Bob buys it.
Yeah.
I think he does.
I think he does too. I think they literally took him and were like, okay, we know what to do. Get Bob to see it. Get Bob. Show Bob the made up stuff. Show Bob the made up stuff. And so they had their very nice disinformation campaign with a witness who believed it 100%, whose credentials checked out.
Yeah, and he can go on our bell all the time and related shows and be like, defense insider Bob Lazar. You know,
Oh, yeah.
like, it's perfect. Yeah.
Totally.
Found the guy who was like kind of credulous and ran with it.
I
There's
can't
always that guy.
I can't say I wouldn't have also just done the same as him. Take me into like the secret hangar and show me a floating orb. I'm like, holy crap! I totally have done it.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be floating. Remember when Trump and the Saudis put their hand on that orb?
Ooh, that's
yeah.
true. They got the
That was
power.
pretty cool.
That's some Evangelion shit in there. Like Project Seal talking on a darkened table.
There was that purple orb
That was
found at
back
the bottom
when
of the
we were
ocean.
like, wow, life is such like basically a Mad Lib, but we didn't know how bad it would get.
That encapsulates 2020 perfectly.
So when life is a Mad Lib, you end up taking a lot of acid. Perhaps if you're looking at the stars and see this, you may have gotten into something. Perhaps on the hiking trail. This is just a weird set of pictures. I think this might be the last one.
Yeah, is this the flying toaster screensaver?
Oh, I remember that.
This is the space
Memories.
station zipping by. So, I just want to zip to part 2 of our slideshow. It goes at a pretty steady clip. And it'll brighten up, not as crazy as a Starlink when it goes overhead, but it'll get pretty bright when it hits the sun just right.
You can also interact with people on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
That they have an active Twitter account, and so if you want to talk to them, they probably won't listen. But
Space
give it a
Station?
go. Yeah.
Oh, they do ham radio too.
Yeah. Oh, did they?
I'm not getting into ham radio. I already do
nice.
astronomy.
I'm not asking you to get into ham radio. I've got a lot of stuff going on too.
No, you explicitly told me, don't you dare, when we were in Alameda once, and there was literally a ham radio store, and I looked at it for 1 second longer than I should have.
He did. It was
No!
better model trains. I put my foot down.
Fair enough. So what is this?
You got like 20 more years before you can do that.
True.
What's this?
So what is this object?
That's like a factory that's on fire, right?
I love it.
Oh, I want to
it's
speak
that-
up just a little bit, too.
Oh.
We gotta be louder.
Sorry.
Got some feedback.
It seems like a still from that Indian Bollywood film we saw about aliens.
This is a picture of the TR-3B weapons platform. No, this is some fake picture of the triangle UFO. But yeah, we love the triangle UFOs. But yeah, what is it called? The TR-3B or 3A? Yeah. Uh-oh, did we lose? There we go. What do we got here?
That does not look like anything. Oh, that's an airplane. Boeing 747.
Landing plane, landing lights, yeah. My family, yeah. But it is weird, if it comes right at you and you have no context for it, you will be startled for at least a few seconds. My family, we went to Florida one year, and I remember we're midway down from New York to Florida, and we all started screaming at 10:30 at night because we saw a bunch of lights coming toward us and no noise. Then a few seconds later, the noise kicked in. It was an airplane landing over us. So, we weren't used to that.
Yeah, lights, no noise is very creepy.
Yeah, and it's weird because some people say, well, I saw a blinking light above me, but there was no noise, so it wasn't an airplane. It's it's just really far away. Air's weird. Sometimes you don't hear noise.
I used to go to elementary school near Moffett Field, so I kind of got used to weird stuff
Right.
in the sky.
Yeah,
And it was
Doppler
just like,
effect
eh.
or something.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see. We have a few more fun ones. Here's a fun one. What's this UFO?
That's a harmonica or a macaron.
I was thinking it looks like a tambourine. Yeah.
This is what the visitors look like in the UFO for Betty and Barney Hill. This is one of their
Oh.
sketches. You can see the little people looking out through the portal. So see,
I
very
like his little arm.
right? It's I think they kind of lifted up during one part of the flight or something. Yeah, it's cute. Unlike the things that happen to
In for a
them.
hug.
Alien
Oh, so
hug.
that's
Let's
so
show us our
cute.
star map. What are these?
Ooh.
What are these?
That looks interesting. That looks like just
Jellyfish
a
in the air.
regular constellation, although I have to say it looks kind of inappropriate. But
Yeah.
that's me.
Well, it's
I mean,
I just found this picture of those drones flying over Colorado. So
oh.
Colorado's had a bunch of weird drones flying around lately, so I figured I should throw in at least one picture of that.
That looks
He lands on
sus.
He's on it.
right there to me.
This is another picture supposedly of them, but I don't know. This was called provided by U.S. Air Force. So,
That looks no.
it's supposed to be that the thing that they're officially doing with the drones is testing swarm intelligence, so they can all move and shake around around each other in a pre-programmed flight path. You may have seen it referenced in one of the recent Spider-Man movies, if you can remember anything from any of those movies.
No, that's too many.
It is the one thing I remember.
No.
Oh, swarm! I remember that from something. And then it's flying over Colorado. But it does look extremely... It's another unnatural looking thing in the air. A bunch of lights shimmering like they're a school of fish. It's very weird. What is this one?
Oh, I know this one. Isn't this doctored technically?
It's 100% real.
I could have sworn that later on it was determined to be doctored
Yeah.
alien footage. It's
Very-
also I think they featured this in the title sequence of X-Files.
Oh, yes.
Ah.
Do you recognize it at all?
No.
This is a fun one to look up. The photos are great. It's the Gulf Breeze UFO incident.
And of course, it happened in the middle of nowhere on a farm, right?
No, it was like a very busy town in Florida on the coast. Yeah. No, but it was a dude that.
Oh, I did read about this.
And it was later on, like one of his houses was sold, and someone found the model in the attic. It's like, wait a minute, this looks just like.
Nice.
But he did it with Polaroids, which is a lot harder to pull the like double exposure stuff off. Supposedly, he did it. And this is from
I know this.
You know this?
These are LSD tabs that you can buy at any rave, and they'll like cut it for you, right? No?
This is a photo sequence of it's a bunch of different pictures of Venus low on the horizon. So by Bob King from Sky and Telescope. So it's just one of those things where
really cool as an LSD tab thing. Someone should do that. Hint. Anybody out there wants to like make money.
The weird thing with bright stuff is if it gets really low on the horizon, it'll flicker and everything, almost looking like a beacon. So
I know exactly what that is. So, Next Generation Season 4, Klingons, that's their main weapon.
Ooh. This is actually a nicer image of what Kenneth Arnold saw in the Cascades launching the UFO craze in the 40s and 50s.
Sure.
So
How much Cascade?
he was flying in like Washington or Oregon when he saw him. Like a 5 or 7 or something. A few of them flying in formation. These looking things.
Looks so proud of it.
It
Like,
looks cool.
see?
I know, it looks awesome, right? Well, the funny thing is, and here's my conspiracy of the evening. I think they were testing these, because it's right after Project Paperclip.
Oh.
The Nazis built a flying wing aircraft that could go about supersonic, and that actually matches the speed and approximate coloration of those things as well. So,
Wow.
looks real similar.
They
So,
were testing them in the Cascades?
pardon?
They were testing them in the Cascades?
I don't know. It's unclear. It's one of those things that they're probably not like declassifying yet because it still relates to stealth technology. There were actually weird stealth-like characteristics to this. So if you're looking at it, it's a flying wing, and it was covered in like a weird fabric rubberized stuff. Extremely like a B-2 bomber, which development of that is also still mostly completely secret. So it's my own banging on the table. This is maybe what he saw. Very good, Dave. Nobody cares, but I care.
But now you have a show and you can tell everyone about it.
Yeah.
The Last Starfighter title sequence scene. I don't know.
Yeah, this is like a vaporwave album cover.
Yeah, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's what that looks like.
If you see this, you can make the decision to either get up to the highest place imaginable, like a rooftop or something, and take off your clothes, or go into the basement and play your chances. This is a test of a multiple independent re-entry vehicle system for ICBM.
You just laid out what you would do in an apocalyptic scenario.
I don't know
didn't you?
which one, though. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh,
Okay.
it's Friday. Yeah.
Right? Well, yeah, so if you see this, there's problems.
Strip dude and get yourself killed. That's a good Friday.
Definitely a calculus textbook from the 80s. That's what this is. Totally. Trapper Keeper cover.
Yeah.
Yep. So, this airplane.
I'd hope so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but this is the airplane that flies around the gray alien from the Weekly World News.
Is it?
Yes.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. And this is one more. I just love the Gulf Breeze ones. Those look so cool. The guy made a good He had a real good aesthetic when he was shooting them.
Yeah, that's actually really nice.
Yeah.
I would like that in our living room.
Honestly.
For a lighting thing.
Instagram ready.
Right?
Mm-hmm. That is Mass Effect. No.
This is a Space Force vehicle. This is the picture that they show the president whenever they want more money. So they can build these.
That makes sense.
We need more of these, Mr. President. Or they show him a picture like this and say that this is what the Chinese are building. And we need to build ones like this too. Literally, they did that to Reagan in the 80s, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
They showed him a picture of a satellite radar dish array in Russia, and like, these are space lasers, Mr. Reagan. We need to build our own. Oh my god!
Wait, is this Babylon 5?
This is totally Babylon 5. Thank you,
Yeah.
Mr. Skinskill. These are Star Furies.
I was thinking, I feel like I've seen this from something and I couldn't put my finger on it.
I'm sorry that you've had to see them. We
I
watched
was
Babylon
never.
5.
We were a
Grits your
strict,
teeth.
like next gen family. Not anything against Babylon 5, but you know, my mom had her principles.
Delightful cheese. The same guy also got to start writing the old Ghostbusters cartoon, which is a hoot. Yeah. He wrote the ones that are like child inappropriate. Like, why are they fighting Cthulhu? Why are their cultists sacrificing themselves? It's like, yeah, he shouldn't have been writing a children's show.
That's life, kid. That's how it is.
You gotta start somewhere.
Don't sugarcoat it.
And you have to battle Cthulhu.
Yep. The boogeyman is real and lives in your closet, and he's designed by the guy that did Duckman. He's terrifying.
It's better to
He
learn
will
it from
come
him
get
than
you
on the
and
street.
feed off of your fear. Great
That's
episode.
true, yeah.
Right. But anyway, I think that's it for our... Ooh!
That is like concept art for the latest Netflix special that is yet to air. Stranger Things 4.
That is...
More Stranger.
That is... Yeah, that is Los Angeles in like 2 years.
This is artist
And they just
conception.
moved it.
Oh yeah. This is the conception of the Cash Landrum incident, where a small where the family encountered this right hovering over the road, and they all had radiation burns afterwards.
You know what? I think this is featured on Ancient Aliens.
Of course it is.
I mean, all
Okay.
of them are, but I remember being conscious for that episode.
Yeah. Honestly, here's a fun thing to do when watching Ancient Aliens. If you got it queued up and you can like look at the episode listings, go through the later seasons as they run out of things to say are Ancient Aliens and watch them really try to stretch it. It's amazing.
I like how they start off with everything. They'll say something like, "It's absolutely, probably, maybe true." Like, I've heard that said.
I think they just did one about the space station and they forgot to do aliens for like 50 minutes about it, and they're like, "Oh crap! But where did we come up with it?"
Cool and interesting. We can talk about it for like an hour. Oh, wait, we're Ancient Aliens. Shit.
It's very funny. It's basically turned into a general interest science show, and then they're like, "Oh crap!" They're like, "It's great," and then it's like, also.
That's what we need to be doing though with the boomers. We need to start with like a QAnon like variety show that slowly just is like, so vaccines work and
That's
like
Quite genius, actually. Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Oh hell yeah.
Yeah. This guy, you usually see him around 2 a.m. at any rave. He has a bottle of water for you and more drugs to carry you through the rest of the night.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks,
Why do you
Trevor.
want to go to your dealer and already got a big, fatty?
Oh, he knows he's gonna run out real soon. The night is young.
Alright.
He's got to stock up too. So what if he likes different sorts of weed? He needs some great like alien weed. He's got. What about earth weed? What about the different
He
strains?
gets a mouth and a nose,
Yeah.
so that like,
Oh,
otherwise
exactly.
rays don't really have that.
Mm-hmm. And he's got a
Rays
pretty.
get COVID because they don't have respiratory systems.
That's
Probably not.
right. Which means that they likely have unleashed it on us to destroy our world.
Yeah, for sure.
Thanks,
Working.
aliens. That's actually fine with me.
Yeah, check.
Do we get their weed?
I hope so. That'd be sick.
That was a good E1. The War of the Worlds, but it's these guys. It's actually an old short story called Martians Go Home. It's basically this. The aliens arrive and they're just perverts that like to watch people doing it in their beds. No one gets any
Cool.
sleep. And they can't
Alright.
kill the aliens. They're indestructible. And they can phase through walls. It's great. There's an
Honestly-
extremely unwatchable movie in the 80s with, I think, Randy Quaid in it, too.
If that's all they're here for, I'm fine
Amazingly
with it.
bad.
In comparison to what they could
Yeah,
do.
if they just want to watch, that's fine.
After
Actually,
a while,
there's
it's
no
just
way
like
that
having a
would
cat in the
happen
room.
That would not
Yeah,
happen today
sure.
because now there's Pornhub. They could just stream that and they wouldn't need to come.
They're aliens. What
Well,
if their eyes?
maybe they do need to.
What if their
because
eyes
that's why they're
can't
here.
view the screen? Like dogs can't see some TV or something.
DTF aliens.
DTF
Exactly.
aliens, like weed smoking voyeurs. We love the aliens and their perviousness. It's great.
We're like the Florida of the universe. That's what they come here to do, just to like let loose and do stuff that's like bad.
If someone steals their money on the beach, they just go to the U.S. government and sell them like a trinket for a return trip home. They're like, guys, it happened again. I'm so sorry. All right. I think that's it for our slideshow. Yes. Well, thank you so much, Miranda.
Yeah, thank you.
This was lovely seeing you.
I hope you enjoyed spending time with us.
And thank you everyone in chat for joining us as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have anything you'd like to plug or shout out? Anyone? Anything?
I was thinking about things I could talk about if we needed to take up more time, which was not a problem at all.
Oh yeah.
But I did look into like Area 51 and how there's a lot of like actual real, 100% real like worker harms that have come from the people who work there, and the like toxic chemicals they've had to use.
Oh yeah.
I tried to see the government's like, oh, it's classified. Like similar, just like breathing in horrible toxic chemicals, and just thinking about like, hey, we don't need to try so hard to find like truly evil dark conspiracies in the world. Like they're everywhere you look.
Exactly, and it was great to help discredit the folks when they tried to bring a lawsuit in about it. You know?
Yeah, because like it was Area 51.
Yeah. It's like, ooh, you got cancer from the alien chemicals. No, I got it from rocket fuel. You dicks.
Yeah. Yeah, you made me burn shit with rocket fuel in the middle of the desert, and you wouldn't let me bring in the mask because it was like super classified or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Extreme. We have a friend that actually got cancer from a naval cleanup site similarly. It happens quite a bit, and they just say, well, that's classified and can't sue us. And...
Right.
Cool.
Anyway, on a lighter note.
On a lighter note.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again. This was a treat.
All right.
And you can find Miranda on Twitter at future__ghost.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you again, Miranda. And have a good one.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Have a good night, people.
Take care, everyone.
People. Thank you for joining in. Thank you, Mr. Skin's call for DTF aliens, because that was awesome. I laughed at that like way too hard.
Au revoir.
Anyway, bye.